Oh, yeah, we all know what that song means around here. It's time for kids to go back to school, back to the classroom. You know, one of the goals is to keep them healthy so that they remain in the classroom. You don't want them at home, right? Let's bring in Dr. Dorie Saxon. She's a pediatrician from Kaiser Permanente right here in Atlanta. Dr. Saxon, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, not a problem. You know, what's one of the most common mistakes that parents make when it comes to kids going back to school and their health?
Well, we want to make sure they're up to date on their vaccines. So, want to make sure every parent starts with that, getting their yearly physical, and making sure they're up to date on their vaccines. And just in regards to keeping them healthy, want to make sure that they're getting enough sleep, regular exercise, and eating right.
You know, it seems like, and it's been a while since I had that age going to school, but it seems like it's impossible to keep them completely healthy, right? Are there any particular health risks that are common for the first week of school?
First week of school. So as we transition into the fall, the allergies really come out and asthma. And then just with the kids being around each other, we're going to see the respiratory viruses start to increase and really peak into the winter time. But we can definitely get a cold year round. So we want to make sure that they're washing their hands well and staying at home if they're sick.
Oh, just seems so impossible, right? You know, the kids are anxious going back to school, especially at that early age. What can parents do to support their child's emotional health?
So, in addition to getting enough sleep and exercising, having those one on one conversations, even for a few minutes, talking about the highs and lows of the days, anything that they're worried about, anything coming up, can just help to manage those emotions. And even if the parent isn't at home to pick up the child or to spend the evening with them, we can talk for a few minutes just about the day and what's coming up and how to manage those emotions.
Yeah, you know, I get it. You know, parents are busy as well. They may not be able to diagnose the signs, right? What should they be looking for when it comes to stress and anxiety, or what can be easily overlooked?
Mhm. And, sometimes stress and anxiety can manifest as recurrent stomach pain, frequent headaches, so even those physical symptoms might be an indication of an emotional issue. Sometimes parents will tell me there's a lack of motivation or even use the word lazy, perhaps. And so we want to recognize that that could be the child faltering in some way with school that we want to address and see if we can help them with organization, talking to their teacher, and just really getting them on the right page.
Doc Saxon, I had old school parents, all right? And so even if I said I was sick, they were sending me to school anyway. How do parents know when it's safe to do that, when to keep them at home and when it's safe to send them to school?
Well, one thing I say to definitely stay at home would be if you have a fever, 100.4 or higher, let's go ahead and stay home until we're fever free for at least 24 hours. And also, if you have any respiratory symptoms that could be disruptive for the child or for their classmates, like a frequent cough, frequent sneezing, we want to go ahead and stay home.
Yeah, yeah. Some great insight right there. Do you have any tips for parents to help keep their kids from missing school with illness?
Definitely washing our hands well. We want to cough into our armpit, and just being aware of what's going on around you, especially as we get into the winter. Let's ask, okay, anyone sick before we have those play dates, just so we can stay at home if someone's sick.
Yeah, yeah. We talked briefly about head lice. I don't know if that's your area of expertise, but how do we avoid that as well? What do we need to tell them to avoid that?
So it would be good to inspect the hair. So if you're seeing any signs of worry, sometimes you won't actually see the bugs, you just see the eggs. So if there's any worry, go ahead and talk to your pediatrician. And there's even an over-the-counter remedy for it.
Sounds good to me. Dr. Saxon, thank you so much for your insight. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll have healthier kids this semester and everything will be okay.